As part of our BikeRadar Women's Road Bike of the Year award, we've tested the top 5 back-to-back in the sub £1,500 category. All the bikes were tested both individually and by a panel of our BikeRadar readers. And the bikes we tested were the Canyon Endurace CF8 WMN, the LiveENV Advance 2, the Cannondale Synapse Carbon Tiagra 6, the Specialized Amira SL4 Sport, and the Merida Sculptra Juliet. So let me take you through the top 5 bikes that have made our list of finalists, finishing off with our runner-up and the ultimate category winner. First up, we've got the Specialized Amira SL4 Sport. Now, although this is a bike designed with racy geometry rather than endurance geometry, all of our testers found it was actually a really comfortable bike and a really good all-round performer. This bike features Specialized women's competitive geometry. So Specialized designed their women's specific bikes based on data that they've collected themselves from numerous bike fits and used that to design bikes specific for each purpose. It's definitely a racy bike as well. It features Shimano 105 gearing with an 11 to 28 tooth cassette, which should be enough for powering up most climbs if you're used to racing. It also features Axis 2.0 wheels and Axis 2.0 brakes. In practice, we didn't really notice a huge amount of difference between the Axis 2.0 brakes and the Shimano 105 brakes you see a lot of at this price point. While our testers found that the Specialized Amira took a while to get up to speed, once it was there, it was a stable, comfortable and steady ride. As with all the other Specialized bikes we've tested, our riders also felt that the contact points were particularly comfortable, so in this case the saddle and the Roubaix bar tape with gel inserts. So while none of our testers found any faults with this bike, none of them really got particularly excited about it either, so it's a good all-rounder but it doesn't stand out. The Cannondale Synapse Carbon Tiagra 6 gives most of its features away in the name. It's also one of the most comfortable bikes in this test, possibly a little bit too comfortable for some. Personally, I found this bike a little sluggish, but a lot of our testers really enjoyed the softness of the ride. As the name suggests, this bike features Tiagra rather than 105 in its gearing, so the money saved by using a slightly cheaper gear set has gone into that full carbon frame and fork. But you do only have a 10-speed cassette, which means you have slightly less gearing to play with. Apart from the fact that the testers found this bike comfortable, perhaps a little bit too comfortable in some cases, they would have preferred a racier feel. The only other thing that we all agreed on was that the wheels felt quite weighty, so they didn't provide the acceleration that you might expect. This bike is worth considering if your focus is on comfort and you're interested in upgrading parts in the future. The runner-up in this category is, perhaps surprisingly, the LiveENV Advance 2. This is an aero road bike and it's based around the frame that Marianne Vos, multiple world champion, rides herself. Admittedly, it's not made of the same carbon as the bike that Vos rides, but it does have a lot of the same geometry and aero features. Unsurprisingly, it was great at accelerating, it felt really stable at speeds, it just flew along. But surprisingly for a lot of the testers was how comfortable it was when it was doing that. It climbed really well, it felt really stable on descents, and everyone really enjoyed riding it. Take a closer look at the bike and you can see the aerodynamic features quite clearly. So it's got aerodynamically shaped seat stays, seat tube and fork blades. It's also got an aggressive geometry which puts you in a downward facing race position when you're riding it. The giant speed control brakes are another aero feature on this bike because they're located out of the way behind the forks and the seat stays. So the winner of this category is the Canyon Endurace CF8 WMN, the WMN standing of course for women specific. This is also the cheapest bike in this group, and it has to be said that the specifications on this bike are part of the reason it takes the win. Canyon's direct sell model means that it's been able to produce a full carbon bike spec'd with full Shimano 105 group set and brakes, and you have a bike that comes in under 8 kilos, which for this price is pretty impressive. When it comes to buying a women's specific bike, the contact points are understandably one of the most important elements, and the saddle is probably the most important one of all. In this case, the bike is fitted with a Sella Italia Lady Flow saddle. It looked a little bit chunky at first sight, but in practice all our testers got on with it really well. So it seems the Endurace is in fact aptly titled, because while it is a very comfortable bike, it does also give a nice racy feel. So it's responsive, it's confidence inspiring through the corners, it feels stable on the descents, and when you put the power down, it accelerates when you want it to. So overall, if you're only interested in comfort, check out the Cannondale. If your main focus is on speed, have a look at the Live. But if you're looking for a bike that's the perfect blend of speed and comfort with a dollop of value for money on top, then we don't think you can do much better than the Canyon Endurace.